And welcome back. Beauty from the Ashes is a consulting company helping mothers and daughters who are coming out of domestic violence, incarceration, shelters, or foster care. Our next guest is using her business skills to enhance confidence in these women and empower them to start their own cosmetics business as a means to self-sufficiency. Joining us to tell us more details is the founder of Beauty from Their Ashes, Liliana Maria. And we thank you so much, Liliana, for being with us.
Thank you. I'm thrilled to be here today.
Yeah, I think the best way that we can talk about, your organization is you're taking trauma and really turning it into triumph in the life of these women. Talk to us about how you're helping women navigate through this trauma.
There is so much stigma on women who are coming out of either the foster care system, reentry from incarceration, and a variety of other situations that through no fault of their own have happened in their life. And it really makes them feel inadequate, it makes them feel unworthy. And so the main focus of this is really to, bring them to a sense of spirituality where they become who God created them to be through love and hope and showing them their worth.
But when you talk about showing women their worth, you show them worth through beauty, through cosmetics, and also really getting them an entrepreneurial effort, getting them in their own business. Talk to us about the entrepreneurial effort, about what it means for a woman to really get their own start independently.
See, for me, I went through some situations also, and I had to start from the bottom also and build myself back up. And I noticed that a lot of doors were closing. And someone said to me, well, why don't you do one of these multi-level marketing things? And I said, I will never do that. Not my thing. It's not going to work. But I tried it. And through doing that is where the idea for this was born. So what we're doing now is we're going to brand our own cosmetics. And we're going to only hire women who've been through trauma, been through incarceration, and provide jobs for them. It should be about 7 women coming in October if everything goes according to schedule. And when a woman is working, when she's independent, she's away from her abuser or whatever led her to her situation, she's empowered. And that's what this is created to do.
How much of it is a clearing of the mind, given the fact that you know that these women are dealing with trauma and abuse, and now to have something that really takes their mind off of that, which is their own business?
It clears the mind a lot because they have something that they're focused on, and they're shedding those labels that everyone had on them, whether it's convict or victim. They're shedding those and they're looking, wow, I'm an entrepreneur. And being busy, they say that idle hands are the devil's workshop, and it's true. If you're busy, you don't have time to focus on your past. You're just looking forward to your future and what you can do to help your family and restore your reputation in society.
Yeah. And so a little bit about yourself, because you have a great background as well that's kind of like positioned you towards really being a great, advocate and a role model for them.
Well, I think that God uses broken women to help broken women. And unless you've been through circumstances and unless you've walked the walk, they don't really trust you. I think that that's part of what draws them to us, is that we're a group of women who've been through the same situations. So they know it's not a hype or some kind of sales pitch or a commercial. We're not charging them. Basically, the way we get paid when it happens is through contracts with nonprofits. So we'll go into the nonprofit and train the women. For the women, it's free of charge. And due to COVID, there have been no contracts. So we're just on a wing and a prayer and whatever we have from our own pockets to help them get their cosmetics and everything else. So they know there's a trust level because we've walked the walk. There's nothing that we're taking from them or gaining from this except to the great feeling of being the hands and feet of Jesus.
Yeah. When you approach women and you give them this concept and you give them the opportunity to say, listen, here's a way that you may be able to successfully transition from where you've been to where you really need to go. Talk to us about that conversation and how receptive are women, because you're talking about people who are coming out of certain environments. Sometimes it can be a criminal justice environment. Sometimes it can be foster care. Sometimes it can even be, they've been through domestic violence. Give us, what's that response from women when you give them an alternative to their situation?
It's initially skeptical, which I understand. Why would they not be? Because like you said, especially people who are coming out of incarceration or an abusive relationship where they've been manipulated to and lied to. But it's when I share my testimony and I say, look, I was one of you and I started over in 2016 and this is my life now. that's where the credibility comes in. And the fact that I'm transparent and I open up to them is what allows them to trust me, because you can't be standoffish and you can't approach them from a position of dictatorship. And this is what you're going to do with your life. You approach them with love, compassion, and empathy. Empathy is really my gift. And because I have been there, it's easy for me to feel what they're going through. And that's what builds a slow trust.
Yeah. What was the turning point for you to say, listen, you know what? I want to be able to do this for women, given the fact that I've had my own personal experience. I want to make sure that I can help others through theirs.
The turning point is that I too was having a difficult time finding employment. I was having a difficult time with housing. And it was actually someone who I met. Her name is Mary Kay Holmes, and she has written a book called Outliving the Labels. And we had a brief Zoom conversation, probably shorter than this. And she said, you're putting so much effort into helping women on different levels and capacities. Why don't you just do this full time? She said, just, have the courage, go out there and lead others, because you have what it takes. And I took it as, God spoke through her, and this is something I needed to do. And I love people. I have a passion for the hurting. Like, what's going on in this world right now has me heartbroken with everything. So if we can spread a little love, that's what we have to do.
And for women right now who may be watching and saying, listen, this sounds something like I want to be able to connect myself with, what's the process and how do they get involved?
They just call me. It's 646-698-1656. I prefer text messages because it's just a little easier for me on a busy day to get back, but I will call them back right away.
Yeah. And so, starting when? Give us the dates of when the next things will begin.
September 25th is the branding of our own cosmetics company, and that's when we will be able to hire 7 trauma-impacted mothers and daughters on this journey.
Excited?
Very.
And what do you think in the end will really come of the experience, or what I should say, are you hoping will come at the end of this experience of having these women with you?
I think that we're going to start a movement and we're going to help other women. And then once, it's going to be like a domino effect. I'll help these 7, they'll go on and like Pay It Forward. If you remember, that was one of my favorite movies, and they'll do it for somebody else and somebody else. And we're going to touch a lot of people, especially in this area. I'm in the Bronx. I'm in the East Bronx, but I worked in the South Bronx at a church for a long time. And this is a community that needs it. So we're going to touch lives out here.
Yeah.
Pandemic or not.
Well, the fact is a lot of people out there really hurting and looking for assistance, and hopefully you'll be able to bridge that gap for a lot of people. Liliana Maria, thank you so much for being with us here on Open. It's been great having you, and thank you for the work that you're doing in empowering women.
Thank you for having me on. I appreciate your time.
All righty. Now, listen, if you want more information, don't hesitate to go to the website, beautyfortheashes.org. All right. Don't go anywhere. We do have more show coming up with us. We'll be right back in a few.